Welcome here, everyone. We are set to go for week number 3. It has been a great start to the Aegis esports side of things as we are here, of course, with the Defenders League. Week number 3, teams are ramping up as we are getting into about the halfway point of the regular season. My name is Orbital. With me is, of course, Quacks, and we will be your casters for tonight's matchup, which will be between Iceborn Ready and Dorado Gaming Theta. Quacks, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. Like you said, we're getting around that halfway point, Orbital. So a lot of teams are thinking about playoffs, contention and being able to get in there. But I don't think that's the story at all for either of these teams that we're covering here today. Iceborn Ready and Dorado Gaming Theta have already secured at least one win. In the case of Dorado Gaming Theta, they are 2-0, 4-0 in game score, topping their group. And in the case of, Iceborn, they are dragging just behind. There's another 4-0 team in the Freljord division, and Iceborn managed to upset, well, not necessarily upset, but at least take a win off of them during that week 1 match. So they are also a top team who's looking here to give Dorado Gaming Theta their first loss here in the ADL regular season. So yeah, it's exciting to see what two top dogs are capable of at this point in the season, and I'm looking forward to casting all of that with you tonight here, Orbital.
Of course. I mean, they're excited as well. We're already into the draft here as Iceborn Ready. They are already on that blue side. And as we know, there are some bans that like to be tossed around here, but blue side does have the advantage. They went straight for the way, which makes sense. You don't want to deal with that. But a surprise ADC ban in the Twitch, trying to get that hyper carry off the table.
Yeah. Yep, and I mean, AD carries are where we're going to have to put a lot of our attention to, I think, in this series, rather. Orbital Husky Templar has kind of been, I would say, the top dog coming out of his team. Iceborn Ready really understand this and are always willing to play for Husky in a lot of these games. I think Peels is another really unorthodox top laner who can kind of hold his own in that lane as well. But then on the other side, you've got Dorado Gaming Theta, right? Oswald really has been the bread and butter of this team, and so I think bot lane, particularly around that mid to late game when those hyper carries start revving up in team fights, is really where we got to start paying attention.
Well, of course, and that's why we see the Lulu banned away just the same, saying, okay, look, we can't deal with the hyper carries, we can't deal with that scaling, but there come the standards. We see the J4 banned on Iceborn and Readies, but of course, for the side of Dorado Gaming Theta, you have to ban away the Skarner. You can't let it go the way of anyone on the blue side. It just holds a little bit too much power, even if the jungler on the other side may not be that big of a threat. At the current moment, though, we're looking at the last ban, and it's an Aurora, Hover, and ban out, so targeting towards mid a little bit more.
Yep, and we haven't had like a ton of focus, right? We've got a jungler, a support, and a mid laner on the side of Ice, and then an AD carry, a jungler, and then a mid laner for Dorado Gaming Theta. So not too much emphasis on any one lane, and that leaves some more champions in that bot lane open. I was just about to say the Jinx is around. The Ashe as well, now that we are on 15.4. Not calling it by what Riot wants me to call it, because that is an absolutely ridiculous change. The Ashe did get buffed in this patch. So if they want to potentially run the Jinx with the Ashe and get a potential double marksman comp going in that bot lane, it generates a lot of priority if you want to go for an aggressive jungler. Or Dorado Gaming Theta could choose to steal that one away, which it looks like they are going to do. Wise choice indeed coming out from the bot lane.
You're gonna have to. It's understood right now just where these priorities lie, and of course for Iceborn, they get the one of the two that they opted for. Right now, though, I would assume we're going to see either focus into the supports or into the jungles. We saw both of those banned away a little bit in the earlier draft, but it makes sense, especially with double ADC, that you want a good support pairing. Now, granted, on the red side, we have seen teams actually opt for an R5 support pickup, but the Thresh all around is, I think, a great answer. You don't know what you're going up against. You know it's going to be strong for that bottom lane, so you get the all-arounder.
Yep, so the Thresh going to be locked in here. This certainly has to be a prioritized pick here for Kibbles. I believe this is one of his better champions, and it allows for a lot of pick comps to be had. So I think Ice now, with that Jinx, are thinking, okay, we don't want to be left out to dry. We don't want to be alone. Let's try to group up together, and let's play a team fighting style where it's hard for Thresh to capitalize off of landing those death sentences and picking us off one by one. And I think a champion like Braum, any Warden or, sort of tankier support member would really fill this niche. And I like that we are also locking in the Braum just to block some of that upfront damage that Dorado Gaming Theta might attempt to go for in those solo lanes.
I like that you called Thresh the Warden for one of two reasons. Number one, he is a Warden. Number two, I mean that shows TFT play as well. He was a Warden back in there. So we touched on a little bit on the TFT game as well, but it is leading into that team fight as you stated, and now we see the rest of the composition roll out. We know Ivern's love to play that supportish role, which now opens up the door for a very aggressive top and mid to round out the damage composition. Dorado Gaming Theta, though, you're seeing a lot of healing come out here. This is a lot of safety, a lot of survivability. I'm curious how you're going to counter it.
Yeah, I am as well. Maybe you want to go for something like an Amumu, try and fight team fight with team fight, or maybe you just want to throw caution to the wind and lock it up. Marksman, the Graves gonna be locked up here for Split Breed. And interesting pickup coming out here. Graves is a champion that can capitalize off of Ivern's more unique pathing with his own, right? Graves, I think, is one of the best junglers in the game when it comes to, if you understand how to path, if you understand where to go, and you understand jungle tracking, this champion really is your moneymaker. So I do like that Graves exemplifies and really pushes forth that commodity in gameplay. And I'm wondering how we're going to see that played out in the game. But for the time being, Dorado Gaming Theta just banning away a lot of great pairings with the Ivern. You talked about a lot of those strong mid laners that could come through for the side of Iceborn. The Corki is banned away. The Yone is banned away. Now I'm wondering if maybe they'll go for something like a Yasuo, which was newly buffed Orbital and is very strong and does pair well with Ivern at the same time.
And we're seeing the Xerath rise once again. This is something that we've been seing.
Yeah, we saw this last week.
The ADL side, like in general, yeah, the rise up there. But again, it lays a lot of priority in following, helping out as a secondary in that mid lane. So I am curious to see how well it's going to do. I have a very soft spot for Xerath, in my opinion. I personally don't feel it's as strong as a lot of people are saying. It still feels, well, maybe not as OP as it used to be, but I like where they're going, a little bit of long range, a little bit to help out. Now Iceborn ready, still going with their aggressive, very upfront style. The Ornn hover could lead into a pickup, and if so, that is a double front lane that you like with the utility jungler in the back. I need to see more damage though.
I like the Ahri.
Okay. Ahri's okay. I'm still scared for the late game damage though, personally.
I like the Ahri. You need a little bit of more source, I think, of AP damage. If you're relying solely on the Ivern in a competitive game to be your magic damage source, then I do think your game is going to be left a little bit out to dry. Not to mention, I think Ahri is one of the better champions for capitalizing off of champions like Xerath. You know, these sort of poke immobile mages where once she gets that spirit rush, she can really close the gap, land a charm. It's very easy for champions like Ivern or potentially Braum to follow up with their own CC, and then you get a lockdown kill in the mid lane, which will be really helpful because Ahri both simultaneously, I would say, scales and snowballs. So I think this is a good pickup coming out here from Iceborn ready. Now Dorado Gaming Theta gonna lock in that Camille. This certainly points to more of trying to go for a more 4-1-esque style, try to get the Camille in the side lane, be that threat, pull the Ornn away from his team, and make it so that Iceborn ready can never team fight. Tangentially, I think Iceborn ready, like we said kind of early on in the draft Orbital, this is a team comp that wants to team fight, wants to play around the Jinx, wants to make sure that that bot lane is ready to go around that third item. And I think this patch really is good for champions like the Jinx. You know, you have those price changes on the Infinity Edge. Getting to third item or potentially second item, if you're about that, is a lot easier on some of those hyper carries. So it shouldn't be nearly as time consuming and gold deficient as it was last patch to get that big spike for champions like Jinx.
Get a little bit more time in there, but granted, we are looking at that kind of divide and conquer on the side of Dorado Gaming Theta. I love that you pointed it out. Yes, the Ahri will be able to roam out, but the Camille saying that 1-4 going to try and bring some damage with the Graves behind and the Xerath to follow. I mean, you also land an arrow from the Ash. We're looking at a pretty easy one-shot kill type combination. So right now, Quack's taking a look at these compositions. Which one would you lay your chips on, considering we have basically just a straight up fist fight on one side on Iceborn ready, and then on the other side it is the hit and run tactic, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's team fight versus kind of really trying to get the ball rolling for champions like Camille and Graves. And I guess you could throw Ash in there as well. And honestly, you know, Orbital, one of the things that we really preach here on the broadcast is ease of execution, right? How easy is it for you to execute that comp? What is your goal? How simple is it to achieve that goal? And I think in the case of Iceborn Ready, that award definitely has to go to them. The Jinx gets ahead. Ivern and Ornn are there to back them up. Braum is there to peel for them. And the game kind of feels really difficult for Dorado Gaming Theta to play from there on out. But Dorado Gaming Theta, they are a 4-0 team. They have not yet lost a game. And so I think it's going to be up to Split Breed and Dark Lord Oswald to do their part and really put this game in a position where team fighting is just so difficult for Iceborn Ready to accomplish. If they can do that, they can win this game. But ease of execution, I got to go with Iceborn Ready for this one, Orbital.
Ooh, giving a lot of love over to Iceborn Ready, and honestly, I can agree with that one. I always love a good team fight composition. I also love shopping, and sometimes I like shopping over a little bit in the Japanese region, but sometimes it's hard to find it locally, at least here where I live, which is obviously a little bit further away from there. But of course, if you are also in that same locale, well, Zen Market has the right options for you. Zen Market is your one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan. They'll help you buy items from over 10,000 shops in Japan, as well as place bids on auctions on your behalf. They'll even consolidate all your items safely into one box and can ship internationally. They'll provide excellent customer service in 19 languages, which is why Zen Market is trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. Go ahead and check the panel below the stream or click the link in the chat to try them out. Now, if you sign up with promo code Aegis, or Aegis, A-E-G-I-S, gosh, my pronunciation is terrible, you'll get 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee. Once again, that is A-E-G-I-S. Go ahead, check that out and watch this promo video as we go to a very short break and get ready for game number 1.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
ありがとうございます。
日本にはまだある？
急がないと在庫があるのはそこだ。遅かった。そのフィギュアを一つだけ譲ってくれんやろか。
お前はだよ、同志じゃねえか。もちろん取引しようや。
ありがとう、全マーケット。
game one on the board, and we are excited to get underway. Iceborn ready, Peels, Pig, we got La Chosen Goat as well as Husky Templar and False. And on Dorado Gaming Theta, we got Milk, Split Breed as well as Tough Daddy, Dark Lord, and Kibbles, all names that we've seen here in the ADL scene before. But of course, hoping to round out with an early win in game number one, as we go ahead and see a sack from Iceborn ready, which I'm not gonna lie, with an Ivern there, I'm not always super confident you want to lose HP right now.
Yeah, the Ivern pick, little bit, I mean, obviously one of the best champions when it comes to just being able to steal away a camp, but we don't expect to see a lot of unorthodox moves coming out here from Iceborn ready, at least in the first few, minutes of the game, right? Like we talked about in the draft, we're expecting to see a lot of attention being paid up toward that, or rather down toward that bot lane. Pig Boss Moon wants to make his way toward this Jinx Braum lane as soon as possible, and Ivern as a champion is one of the most efficient clearers, one of the fastest. In fact, I believe DPM, a kind of a stats page on Twitter, ranked him as one of the top, I believe, 3 champions. If you can clear with this champion efficiently, he has a sub 3-minute full clear, which is very good for being able to get to places quickly. So I think if he's able to be efficient on this champion and just get bot lane before the Graves, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Dorado Gaming Theta bot lane to play out basically a 3v2 the entire time.
I like how we say DPM and we're like, but Ivern doesn't actually do any damage to the camps. What do you mean damage side? But
freeze them.
I know, freeze them in a spiritual way. With the bodies, we don't know. But taking a look on the other end, you look at Theta and you say, okay, how else is this going to work? I mean, you got the Graves, which was in answer. And I mean, Graves is also well known to be fairly decent on the clear. However, recent patches and changes always have influence over that one, as we do see Milk landing that level too early and trying to lay down some damage.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Graves, has efficient clear, but just isn't as strong until it gets that one item, right? Doesn't really have kill threat, I feel, on any of these lanes, because not only do you not deal a ton of damage, that reload mechanic kind of being more of a hindrance than a commodity in those early levels, but you don't have a ton of setup barring that death sentence coming out from Kibbles. And so far, just looking at the bot lane state, Kibbles isn't really in a position to back you up, and neither are you, given that this Grace is pathing up toward that top side and not really wanting to influence the bot lane for the time being, at least on the first clear.
Wants to play a little bit smarter, get those levels, knows that they're going to be answering in to the Ivern soon, and Iverns love to shield, love to have that chance to kind of bring a little extra to that table. So that's where we're seeing match full clears on either end, just making sure that they have that extra buff at that level 3 or so. Mid lane, we're seeing what Xerath love to do. You throw down the W, bring down the lightning, and then you pierce with that Q. It's a pretty easy combination to land, quite honestly, and I mean that's why we're seeing it picked up so much. Knocked out of their repel, and the repel, the hook shots itself, and I mean Peels is going to be able to get away and do some damage there. So Milk is like, dang, that really just happened.
Yeah, now Milk is going to be forced under his turret. It's going to be hard for Split Breed to just walk up here at the current moment. He's going to try, though, but there is a ward. I'm wondering if Peels actually has to flash because of this gank on the top side.
Right now, we're watching the bot side as Kibbles is actually the one eating up a lot of damage. Flash not expended by Peels, but we are watching the damage kind of round out here on the bot lane. Kibbles, I believe, did get ignited, so, I mean, that's your support. You're not too worried, and Paul stayed just about the same amount of damage.
Yeah, decent trade coming out there from the bot lane of Iceborn already, and it is going to push back Kibbles and Dark Lord as well just a little bit, and it will also allow, because we saw on that top side, Peels did not have to flash. It allowed Pig Boss Moon to get that crap. He will have a faster reset, so the timing advantage coming through here from the Ivern to just be at this bot lane sooner. Death sentence barely missing, actually, on False.
Even False knowing that probably should have hit, but the lollipop didn't hit as neatly as you would like. So Kibbles is like, oh, dang it. But now you step up, and Husky Templar stepped up a little bit too far. Meaning go ahead and get that play. Split Breed is coming down here. And another hook trade. Cleanse is coming out. Husky Templar, though, getting rounded on the corner. Big is here to help out, and that's a concussive stun. Split Breed gets called up. You still get first blood, but that will be a kill back over to Husky Templar.
Beautifully placed flame choppers there coming out from Husky Templar, completely preventing Split Breed from escaping. Now they want more, though.
Honestly, I don't know if either side really wants this one. Pig Boss Moon has a little bit more HP, but the damage numbers really aren't in their favor, so, you go back to quiet.
Yep. So it's a kill going over to Split Breed, but more importantly, it's a kill going over to Husky Templar. That Jinx that we talked so much about, hyped so much in the draft orbital, is starting off this game with a bang, or rather a pow, if you will, just to name back one of the guns that she's got. And that's exactly what Iceborn Ready want, right? Husky Templar has the red buff. We'll probably be able to shove in this wave along with False and get a reset item advantage in the bot lane. And this will also provide False potentially the opportunity to roam up toward that top side, help out with those grubs. Ivern is one of the worst champions pre-6 at taking those grubs. Definitely needs help from laners in order to go for those early game objectives until he gets Daisy. So I think the assistance from Braum will be very, very helpful. And we're seeing that now. Is it does look like False is roaming up.
Well, they are roaming up, but not for the grubs itself. Take a look at where they're positioned, because Split Breed is already there. Split Breed was able to answer back because obviously you died, so you get the recall, you got the first blood, you get the damage. But you are there first. That is the most important factor. So Dorado Gaming Theta is saying, we are going to collect. We know you're most likely not on Dragon right now because you are making that roam towards that mid lane, and False is showing on top of the ward. So very comfortable take by the Theta squad to go ahead and get their first global objective. First neutral camp up.
Yeah. So they are going to start off with that feat. At least an advantage for there. And yeah, I mean, I don't believe Iceborn Ready saw Kibbles on the top side. The Thresh was completely evading all of the vision that Iceborn Ready had. So they had really no way of reacting on the other side of the map with a play of their own. Dark Lord Oswald was alone for a little bit there, but they weren't able to capitalize off of it. Now, though, the Dragon is potentially in prime time to be taken. I mean, Split Breed is on the top side, but yeah, they're just not really ready to pull the trigger without Daisy, I feel. That's really the spike that Ivern wants to play off of, and he's not yet there.
I mean, you saw this might go down on the blue buff, and so it kind of made sense that, hey, you don't want to chance for that. Instead, you are going to trade out buff for buff, and you're going to try and look at this bot lane. False trying to bait in maybe a hook, maybe a flay, or anything of the sort just to get Pig in here to play. And Tough Daddy in the mid lane still trying to keep Ari kind of stuck in this mid lane, which honestly would be considered a win if you're able to do so. Top side peels running away here. Split Breed showed themselves as well. Hextech Flash.
Ooh.
Okay.
He's actually going to get over that. Was a BM Hex Flash if ever I've seen one, but Split Breed showing top side. It's going to give the green light over to Pig Boss Moo to go onto this Dragon. His chosen goat, as you can see, just roaming around here. And this is actually a good play coming out here from Split Breed. Instead of, you know, saying, okay, let's try to fight this, he's just going to cross map, take away a couple of camps from Ivern. But now that Ivern has level 6, I feel like the levels are significantly less important for him. Now it's really all about the gold and being able to get items like Redemption to assist your carries like this Jinx, who is still relatively healthy in this game, has grown around a 20 CS lead over the Ashe, has that BF sword item advantage. So no aggression really possible from the side of Theta's bot lane to be able to retaliate.
Yeah, I think you're also just, you resigned yourself to the fact that, hey, they got the kill, they got red buff even on top of it, but Tough Daddy has the ultimate in time, and that's the chosen go. Being able to kind of dash away is going to burn the ultimate to also stay alive. That is a good
wait, look at Split Breed on the side. He has the collateral damage.
Yep, that is going to be a chance, but on the bot side is where we're watching Kibbles yet again, eating a lot of that damage, doesn't have any extra out, and Dark Lord is going to be zoned away. That's the rocket to take it away, and that's a simple kill for Husky Templar.
Yep, another kill going over to the Jinx orbital. Husky Templar is slowly but surely revving up in this game. Oswald is alone on the bot side now, and you can see Pig Boss Moo is hovering around the area, but they've got to be careful. The Ashe does have the cleanse, does have the flash. Milk also has the TP coming up very shortly, so the Camille could look to respond.
Well, they're going to give it a shot, and right now this could be the kill that they really need to get the Jinx up and running, and they are graciously gifted plus a point. And just like that, I was still waiting for that third kill. Husky Templar has gotten 3 plus some and the CS. This is Iceborn Ready's comp ready to go.
Not only is it 3 kills going over to the Jinx, but it's also the feat of warfare acquired for Iceborn Ready. They are going to have a significant advantage in the race to get those feats of strength unlocked. And the gold is exactly where they want it to be. The pace of the game is exactly where they want it to be. We're 10 minutes in orbital, and it feels like Iceborn Ready, despite that 1 kill being given over to Split Breed, Iceborn are exactly where they want Dorado Gaming Theta.
You know, whenever you see a kill go the way of any aggressive jungler like a Graves, in my opinion, someone that wants to be proactive, someone that wants to get the kills, to see it kind of wane right there always feels kind of bad. I mean, you gave first blood, you got a lot of gold, and Splitbreed hasn't really been able to show that extra 700 gold anywhere else on the map. Has been quietly farming up, does have a 20 CS, so that's about 6 camps over Pig Boss. But again, this group has just been so overwhelming, and now we're going to see a grub fight come out here, which I'm kind of curious about because Peels is on the bot side.
Yeah. You can see Oswald has roamed toward the mid lane. All 5 members of Dorado Gaming Theta are on this side of the map. Peels has to teleport. The Ornn is ready to jump into the action at a moment's notice. And like we said, the team fighting goes over to Iceborn ready. So it's Dorado Gaming Theta.
Splitbreed, what are you doing stepping up like that? You are the jungler, you can't do that. And you hand the grub right over. Great smite, easy take. You'll wait out both charges and you take the camp for yourselves. Not only that, you didn't have to use more. Yes, you may pay the price, but the chosen goat is gonna go down. No, you flash away, good flash in to help out, as that is Kibbles to go down here. Now unstoppable, TP coming in the backside. That'll be Milk to try and fight it out, but that's gonna be another rocket. Now Milk in a 1v3, another laser come out here. Tough Daddy trying to bring down the damage. It looks like it's gonna be done. Husky's got still need 2 Peels coming in to help out. The extended fight is not going Dorado Gaming's way. That will be collateral damage, and Splitbreed is finally able to get a shutdown, but the damage has been done. Iceborn ready, get the camps and get the kills they wish.
It ends up somewhat okay for Dorado Gaming Theta at the end. They get the shutdown onto Splitbreed. The Jinx finally goes down after all of the dust has settled. But look at how many advantages Iceborn Ready got in the process. They got the grubs. They got so many kills onto the Jinx before that shutdown came through. 6M1 now is Husky Templar. And furthermore, it was gold enough for the Ivern to finally get that Moonstone. So the backline support for this AD carry on Iceborn Ready is going to be that much better protected the second time around. Beautiful fight win there for Iceborn Ready, and they are just accelerating this game exactly how they want to.
I just am very surprised Splitbreed was willing to sacrifice their life that quickly. I know you had the kill, but you're squishy right now. Yeah. It's just a little bit of time before the Graves gets up there, so a mistake occurring at a point where you really don't want it to now means Dorado Gaming Theta have to realize they're not really in the driver's seat. Dragon coming up in just a few, in about 35 seconds. Maybe you can go play for that one as well.
Absolutely. Dragon coming up soon, but it is worth noting, both top laners extinguishing their TP for that last fight, so you won't have access to Peels with that Ornn Horn. You won't have access to the Hextech Ultimatum from Milk. Honestly, though, I do think it still is favorable for Iceborn Ready, even without their prime frontliner in Ornn. They still have, you know, easy backline access. They can still play off those resets. If anything, I feel like Theta don't want to fight without the Camille, because having the Hextech Ultimatum to single out a target is really valuable when you've got so much single target damage, specifically on your Fed jungler.
See what they can do here. Bot side, we're seeing a couple of the lasers go out, as it looks like we had a little bit of a lane swap at the moment, but that leaves Peels in a dangerous spot. You might be tanky, but the arrow's going to do more than enough. It is a nice setup, and this is what we talked about, that 1v3 type, a chosen goat saying, hey, you're going to pay the price. Rocket from a little bit of the ways in river. They're going to try and pass the kill off, but no, the chosen goat is going to take that. Not only that, as well as the dragon, which is going to be the 3rd camp that they wish. So Iceborn Ready are ready for their boots upgrade.
So they're going to get the boots upgrade first, and double dragon as well means that the scaling advantage is in their corner too. You can see all the members of Dorado Gaming Theta are recalling and are on that top side, so it will allow Husky Templar to farm up this wave and start to threaten this tower. This bot lane turret is starting to get really, really low, and once that happens, it's going to be really easy for False and Husky Templar to maneuver around the map, potentially for this Herald that'll be spawning in under a minute, and just continue dominating these team fights like what we saw in that second spawn of grubs.
I'm kind of curious here. this the situation of changing things up is going to allow Husky Templar and False to go ahead and recall. They're like, yeah, we're chill. We're not worried at all. We're gonna go ahead and place ourselves in a little bit better spot. We don't want to deal with Tough Daddy. This Xerath, who has been farming up quite well, 139 in the bank, has that Luden's Companion going for a much more burst heavy composition or style with that build, which is appropriate. Once again, trying to kind of decimate Husky or LeChosen go early on in these battles.
For sure. And essentially the one, sort of advantage I could see going forward here for Dorado Gaming Theta is that, they're closer to getting the second item onto the graves. Once he gets that collector, it's going to be, I think, really difficult for some of these backliners like the Jinx and the Ahri to walk up and deal a lot of the damage without getting bursted down. But it still just feels so difficult because, like you said, and like we saw in that last team fight, the Graves, while dealing a lot of damage, he is squishy himself. So he's got to be really, really wary about getting caught out by, things like the Braum, things like the Ivern, because if he steps one toe out of line, we saw at the second grub fight, he pays the ultimate price.
Mm-hmm. I think what you're really hoping for is Milk being able to get into the mix first, drop that Hextech ultimatum, and then you can solo someone out, and that's how you kind of use that damage. But right now, there's no soloing out a single member of Iceborn Ready as they just 4-man this mid lane turret and make it look easy. As we mentioned, their comp is online. What they want to do is ready to go, and that means Iceborn Ready wastes no time in swinging their weight around.
Yeah, and they're going to swing their way around that Rift Herald. You can see Dorado Gaming Theta are trying to match. They're clearing out some vision, trying to play some of their own. You can see there's a ward in the pit, so they should be able to track where Shelly is, at least for the time being. But yeah, I mean, this is just a tough position to fight in, right? You don't have enough vision really for Tough Daddy to enter the fight. Milk just went for the reset, so it's another objective going over to Iceborn Ready. But now I'm really interested to see where they actually place this one. Probably going to be on the top side just so that Peels can maneuver around the map with the rest of the team. Grouping them up has to be their #1 objective, as Milk gets a rude awakening, maybe some water splashed on his face, if you will.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that. You just ran face first into a door is what it felt like. You came back from lane and you're like, yeah, this is fine, this is fine. You ran straight into a wooden Ivern, and then you get forced out of lane because a literal door is in your way mid lane, midway through the lane, as False was there to cut you off. So Kibbles is trying to run interference, but you're trying to push against a Rift Herald as Dorado Gaming Theta actually put the Graves on the bot side. So this is a shove that I'm not sure you're actually going to like. However, they were able to clear out thanks to the Arcane Barrage, and they are going to be able to hold a little bit better. Bot side Peels is able to deny any further damage on that turret, so nice opening by Iceborn Ready.
And it's a little bit more gold CS and just overall experience going over to Split Breed in the process. But without their primetime jungler, Dorado Gaming Theta, they're a little bit helpless here at Orbital. They can't really stop this siege. They're going to do their best, though.
I mean, that is actually great. I don't know what happened, but it looked like there was a little bit of a rough turnaround. And Milk is able to live as well. Not the final shot landing. That's a hook cleanse having to be burned. That's a flash though. It's False going to take another tower shot. You're jumping back, able to get the shield up, but it doesn't matter. Tough Daddy saying, hey, I got flash. I can land a single Q. You're going to flash forward. You do, and you punch your ticket to your second kill of the game. Well done to Dorado Gaming Theta to hold that tower. Now a collapse even further, though, as Split Breed and Peels are fighting it off. But take a look on the top end. Milk keeping in to get a little bit of help and fight. And it looks like that's just a full-on collapse that you like to see. Although I think they actually got away. So surprisingly enough, top side is no worries. Peels, though, still duking it out. And this is questionable. Split might have to burn that flash. There is the call of the Forged God. A little bit of punch. You landed while blind. You landed while blind. Yes, you got the kill. Dorado Gaming Theta got the tower top side, but man, was that flashy from Peels.
That was absolutely insane coming out there from Peels. He gets the solo kill onto Split Breed. Ornn is a champion of all time. Say it with me, Orbital. But yeah, now you leave yourself vulnerable to giving up third dragon to Iceborn Ready. The scaling team fight comp is doing just that. They are continuing to bide their time, play the map perfectly. And like you said, I mean, Dorado Gaming Theta, they managed to get that kill on the top side. They managed to get that turret, but all of their weight was shifted over. And by the time that reset from Husky Templar, went through, he got back to the base, they immediately used the Hex Gates to shift their weight bot lane. And they're essentially just corralling Dorado Gaming Theta around the map, making them chase their own tail while also getting all of the rewards.
I mean, honestly, I think Dorado is just happy that if they're looking at the items, they're like, man, we're actually fairly close. You're only seeing a 600 gold difference right now. So at least in the material numbers, you're standing pretty much neck and neck. It's where the dragons come in. It's where we start seeing the space being taken that we're like, oh, this is actually terrifying right now. You don't want to be anywhere near this, as we are going to see Otacon spawn on the top side. Voracious, of course, showing its head.
And it's not only the dragons that kind of buy more gold over to Iceborn Ready's side, but it's also the Ornn items that'll be coming through shortly, Orbital. That is going to provide so much more efficiency over to the members of Iceborn Ready. It's going to make them so much more gold efficient, so much stronger in the team fight. And you have to think that Dorado Gaming Theta, that is in the back of their mind. They're thinking, what's going to be this Jinx's capability once that Infinity Edge is opened up by the Ornn, once it is unlocked to the next tier by the Ornn. You thought it was bad now, but it can get a whole lot worse.
All I can think about is the fact that Iceborn Ready have basically gone from a shop to an armory. Not only did you get the ornaments, but you also get the boot upgrades. Like, this is illegal stuff. Like, why do they get an armory? They brought in the whole battalion just to set up, and then on the other side, Dorado Gaming Theta is like, all we have is a shop. Like, that's not fair. But that's the situation. I love the fact that you pointed out the ornaments are coming through, because Peels has done an amazing job of, again, getting the levels. They're currently about a level up on the highest level of Dorado Gaming Theta as well, so they have not been forced down at all. And even in that, keeping pace as the second or third most gold on that side of Iceborn Ready.
For sure, you know, keeping pace with the Camille as well, Orbital, but also just being able to stop that side lane threat that we mentioned in draft. We said the plan of Dorado Gaming Theta was to allow Milk to kind of run wild and free in the side lanes and be this threat that forced Peels to the other end of the map. And while they have, you know, kind of forced Peels to be around, he has always been able to join team fights when Iceborn Ready have needed him, because Iceborn Ready have controlled the tempo of this game. They've controlled when a fight should be played, and whenever Ornn is around, that's when they decide to pull the trigger, which is why I'm thinking they'll be pulling the trigger any second, any minute now, because that TP is available, and now it might have just started.
False gives false sense of security, and that's a catch on the other end. Great little rocket to land split breed into very dangerous points, but that's the burn that you need, plus the TP in. Let Chosen go choose through the back line. Tough Daddy not in the right spot. You don't like to be here. Charm to finish it off, as that's a 4-for-0 out of nowhere. Iceborn Ready take DOGT to town.
Dorado Gaming Theta, they thought they had a pick, but it's 4-for-0 in favor of Iceborn Ready. They're not even going to go for the Otacon right away, Orbital. They're saying we can deal so much more damage. They're going to push down the base. They could probably go for an inhibitor here, go for those resets, and then go for the objective. The game pace is controlled by Iceborn. They're in no rush to end this one. Victory is sweet. And it seems like victory might just be around the corner at this point.
The crazy thing is, that was a fight that Dorado Gaming Theta actually won, and they sat two in the bush. They were like, hey, we're gonna get a pick on false, and that's why even if it is DOGG trying to call a shot, it's not anything close. You think you have that opportunity, but it's not in your hands. As you said rightly so, Iceborn Ready able to do anything. They're able to make the calls, they're able to dive right in with the TPs, they're able to make the plays wherever they so wish. And that next one is going to be around this dragon just as well. You can see everyone pacing over there with about 50 seconds left on it.
Yeah, they're not even going to go for the Otacon. I think that they were aware of the timing that they had. They didn't want to give up control of the bot side river. So I don't know. Maybe they could have gone toward the top side. Utilizing those hex gates, you kind of cheat timers just a little bit. If they go for the Otacon, they get the revive buff, and then I feel like the dragon is a foregone conclusion. But you're so far ahead of this game that I feel like the dragon is a foregone conclusion anyway. At least in one scenario, you don't give up control of the map. So I can see Iceborn Ready's plan, and it seems like it is going to be one that works. As Dorado Gaming Theta, this is exactly where we found ourselves on the second spawn of Grub's Orbital. It is Dorado Gaming Theta having to walk into Iceborn Ready, having to walk into the meat grinder 5-man death team comp.
And false was ready. You're just looking for split breed, who is again in the front lines. That draws Milk in, who uses Hectic Ultimatum just to run away. and the rest of Dorado Gaming Theta have to run. You can't stay, and that gives pretty much a free dragon the way of Iceborn ready.
But you can see they're staying on the map. They're still going to look for things. Peels is very tanky, but is he tanky enough to handle all 4 members? But that is a crucial death sentence.
It is, but again, Lachosa Goat is safe, and False does their job in running interference here. Dragon is taken. That is stolen. Now Dangerous Bound Husky is unleashed. Rockets going to decimate your backside. Husky Templar chasing forward, even gets the slow. You ain't flashing out of that one, Tough. Tough is gone. Tough luck. That is going to be 4 for 1 as Iceborn ready. Chase to end the game.
And then the kills from Pig Boss Move there to stop the Sudan onto the Jinx and continue the pursuit of Husky Templar. That was just the cherry on top, as they don't want the cherry on top. They want the whole ass dessert here, Orbital. They're going to push for the end here in game number 1. Clean as can be. Iceborn ready. Scorelines be damned. 4-0 be damned. They will take game 1.
You know, it feels weird that Iceborn Ready are 1-1 in series score and Dorado Gaming Theta are 2-0, because if you took the nameplates off, this was a slaughter.
This was a slaughter.
55-51 on the clock is a crazy number to have. I know I just jump scared you because my face is right up here because I'm leaning forward. I am flabbergasted at how crushingly Iceborn Ready were set to take over this game. I doubted the Ari. I never should have as well.
I mean, honestly, it just felt like the plan was crystal clear right from the beginning, Orbital. I mean, we called how this game was going to go literally in the draft. We said all of the objectives or all of the golden objectives have got to be on this Jinx. They've got to give all the gold over to Husky Templar. They did that, right? They stacked dragons. They played for scaling. They played for team fights. They forced Dorado Gaming Theta to go into them instead of the other way around. We said how they needed to play the game. We said what they needed to set up for, and they did all of that like they were checking boxes off of a checklist when you go to the grocery store. Everything that could have gone right went right here in game number 1, and if that is what we are in store for in game number 2, we're not going to get a game number 3 here, Orbital. That was one of the cleanest games that we have seen here in the ADL so far this season, I would say, bar none.
100%, and I'm very, very impressed. I'm excited to see what more can be done, because Dorado Gaming Theta, they got to go back to the drawing board, and they're like, dang, we messed up. We gave a lot over, things went wrong, let's get things under control. They will have side selection as well moving into game 2, and for Iceborn Ready, they're set to get their second series on the board. So let's go ahead and go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll see if the 2-0 is inevitable, or we get that finale at the end. Don't go anywhere. They were set. They were 100% ready to go. As we said, they were more than ready to get started and rolling. Dorado Gaming Theta now on the Blues side, which already having some shifts in their ban system. You can see that Ivern taken away. Iceborn ready though, banning away the Scarters, still staying with the play.
Yep, so it looks like I mean, honestly, if you're Iceborn ready, you're probably going to just try and stick with a similar program, right? Play around Husky Templar, play around this big team fight comp that's really easy to execute around the mid to late phases of the game, and just make sure you know exactly where your resources are going. In Dorado Gaming Theta, like you said before we went to a break, Orbital have to go straight back to the drawing board. I would imagine it's going to still relate a lot to that bot lane, right? Maybe we see a bit more of an emphasis on trying to get it ahead with a hyper carry of your own. Maybe they pick up the Jinx for themselves. I mean, that wasn't picked, or that wasn't banned away here for game number 2. Or maybe they go for something like a Zeri. That is also something that I believe Oswald is familiar with, but they're going to go for the Ezreal. So not necessarily the big lane dominant ADC you would expect, but one that spikes toward that mid to late game where Dorado Gaming Theta really didn't have much agency in the game, in the first game at least.
The thing to me, though, is it's signaling a very safe laning setup, which is allowing Iceborn ready to kind of say, hey, we're going to go ahead and grab that Jinx. We're going to bring a lot of ramping. I feel like you could have dropped the Ezreal down to maybe B2, B3 and grab something else in that B1 position. But granted, there has been a heavy emphasis on the ADC position in both of these games so far. So I kind of get it.
The Lulu's open.
Yeah, this is, I feel like Iceborn ready are like, please, let's just go ahead and run it. We're ready up. But no, they opt for a more stalwart top lane.
Yep, so similar to what we saw in game number 1, I mean, Cassante really good at rather ejecting threats out of the fight, and I would also say is better at just standing on his own 2 feet, right? We kind of saw the Ornn, that's more of a lane neutralizer, looking to make sure that the enemy top laner can't really get ahead. Cassante is one of those champions that can get ahead in his own right, has agency across the board, right? Ornn kind of falls off in damage later on, and he has a lot of damage early on, but then obviously he makes up for that with all the scaling that he brings with things like the ornaments. So I would say Cassante all around just a good, well-rounded champion at all phases. And I don't hate this pick. I also don't hate this Gwen pick coming out here from Dorado Gaming Theta. It's a flex. Gwen jungle has seen a little bit of priority being played in solo queue, but as far as Cassante counters, I think Gwen is one of the better ones if I'm remembering my top lane matchups correctly here, Orbital.
As long as you reach that mid to late game, yes, you're going to have some power. I mean, the Gwen is one of the best at just bringing the raw AP damage, but the Rakan now to bring a little bit extra safety. We mentioned that the Ezreal wants to play a little bit safer, and this is going to enable that bot lane roam. We just mentioned that the likes of this composition kind of want to round about, and they want to be able to move to follow, and Kibbles is going to try and do just that. But there's a Lulu that you mentioned, Iceborn ready. They're like, you may roam, we're staying put, we don't care.
Yup. So now I think, you know, with that roaming, like you said, being cut in half here for Iceborn ready, we've got to get champions specifically in the mid lane that can stand on their own 2 feet, right? That don't need a ton of resources drip fed into them with characters like Lulu needing to roam up toward the mid lane, right? Because like you said, Lulu wants to stay in the bot lane, wants to stay with the Jinx, wants to get that pick ahead and continue scaling up like what we saw in game number 1. So I'm interested to see what we actually come across for here in Iceborn ready's draft in regards to that mid lane. Ahri was taken away, so was the Xerath, funnily enough. So we are not going to see either of the picks in the mid lane that we saw in that first match.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with it because honestly, if we looked at the two, LeChosen Goat actually was doing okay on the Ahri, but wasn't doing great. The Xerath does have great poke, is able to land a lot of those if you're not getting punished into that mid lane. So, you know, just don't want to deal with it. And you got a free ban. Let's be honest. Iceborn ready, they don't really have to worry about that much. They're sitting there like, do whatever you want to. We're going to have a counter. We're going to have ready. So you don't have to worry about it. You just take away what was there before.
You could go for something like a Yone, honestly. I mean, if you want something strong in the mid lane, if you want a decent amount of damage, you could do that. But tangentially, you also do want some magic damage, right? I'm looking at Iceborn ready side. They don't have any magic damage users. Yone does kind of do a little bit of magic damage. I mean, his passive gives him mixed damage, but the magic damage niche is going to be filled in the jungle. Instead, the Zyra going to be locked in here for Dorado Gaming Theta. Now I'm really hoping that that Gwen actually goes jungle, because that is one of the best jungle Gwen matchups you could ask for. She completely nullifies all of Zyra's range advantages.
You just do whatever you want to. You go run around, and that's going to be a Ziggs coming out here as well. A little bit more poke, still filling in that role of having the increased range, but I'm kind of taking a look here. You need a little bit of raw damage to come out here, and the AD extra value coming out might be in that vibe, forcing that Gwen towards that top side.
Yep, so I don't hate this Vi. I actually think that this is decently good, especially to champions like Zyra, who is so good at just peeling or kind of offering, you know, some of that self-peel. Vi just kind of throws all of that to the wind, but we're actually going to get a swap at the last second, and the one goal that I anticipated will be coming through. Like this matchup a lot, explained why. Now it's up to Dorado, or now it's rather up to Iceborn ready to see what mid laner they want to go for here. And I don't actually hate this. I mean, it's another magic damage user. It makes you really hard to build against, I feel, for Dorado Gaming Theta, because you've got an AD champion like Jinx who you want to build armor against, but then you've got double magic damage users in the mid jungle that it's going to be equally as difficult to build against. And with the Galio banned away, I feel like Talia is the next best option for getting around the map with that Weaver as well. So I like this lock-in.
Not only that, being able to stay far away from the Ziggs, try and play against that, also having that dash negate ability. I do believe procs on the Ezreal as well, but overall, as you said, the main factor is the roaming. Once level 6 hits, you'll be able to roam out. The difference being is, to me, you're looking at the Zyra and Talia, it doesn't have as exceptional catching power. No, it has a lot of catching power, but not as much as the Ivern, in my opinion. Ari, the Ivern Ari had such wonderful combinations where it's just like you're CC locked. Zyra and Talia are like very conditional. You got to land that rock, you got to land that shove, and then also the vines as well. So there's a lot here for Iceborn Ready that changed, but at the same time did not change. Quacks, do you like Iceborn Ready's composition that they built here?
I do want to, before I talk about the comps overall, I do want to piggyback kind of off of what you were saying with the catch potential of the Zyra and the Talia. Not only is it more conditional with, you know, the skill shots being harder to land, it's more conditional because Dorado Gaming Theta are straight up more slippery here in game number 2, right? The Gwen is going to be able to immune her way out of all of your CC. Ezreal has a blink, so it's not going to be affected by the Talia's worked ground. Ziggs is obviously easier to catch, but it's also, you've got to be aware of that satchel charge and that it can knock you back as well as knock him back. And the Rakan can also just lay down cover fire with how much CC that he provides. If anything, I think this makes it harder for Dorado Gaming Theta to engage fights, not necessarily to get a pick onto any of the Dorado Gaming Theta backliners. So now that I got that out of the way, I do want to talk about the comps orbital. And I would say, I don't know. I still really like Iceborn Ready's composition. I cannot understand why you would ever want to give away the Lulu champion, because man, that character combined with the Jinx, if we see what we saw in game number 1 orbital, 3 kills over to the Jinx in the first 10 minutes and with so much backline support from her teammates, then I feel like this game is going to be all the same. It is a little bit harder to execute this time around when you've got champions like Zyra and Talia that can prove to be a little bit more difficult to accelerate into the mid to late game. But it also means that it's harder to get onto that backline if you are Dorado Gaming Theta. I mean, look at how much peel this comp has. They can really fight whenever they want to, similar to what we saw in game number 1. I would say the big thing for Dorado Gaming Theta is this Gwen, right? If you can get this Gwen ahead, if you can allow it to scale, if you can allow it to get some items, hell, an early kill or 2 would go a long way in ensuring you get a win here and go the distance in game number 3 for series point. But I feel like if you're just solely relying on scaling, despite having the Ornn and despite having the Gwen, you might legitimately get outscaled here, which is saying a lot.
I would actually agree with you on that point. It's just like, we really do hope to see Dorado Gaming Theta have a little bit more oomph to themselves here, unlike they had in game number 1. I expect to see a little bit more oomph now on the blue side. They got some more champions to mess with, but of course it comes down to the players themselves. So we would go do a short break, make sure both teams are ready to go for the action, and see if Iceborn Ready are able to take it to 0, or if Dorado Gaming Theta will force us to a game 3. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Game 2 underway here with Dorado Gaming Theta hoping to make their mark with a Gwen jungle, Ornn top, Ezreal bot lane, and we also got a Ziggs and a Rakan to round it out, but we got a Zyra, Pig Boss Moo, hoping to have another stalwart and controlling game in this this second set.
For sure, but I mean, you're facing off against a Gwen jungle, probably one of the best counters to Zyra, at least in my book. One of the most underrated, as well as you don't really see a lot of Gwen, at least in the jungle for competitive play, despite how strong it is at clearing, despite how well it's scaled. So I really am hoping that Splitbreed can shine a little bit of light on this matchup and be the big carry for Dorado Gaming Theta that takes them to game 3. But on the other side, Iceborn ready, kind of running it back with a similar comp, playing around this Jinx, making sure Husky Templar can get those resets, and you've got champions like Talia to really even out the odds and give you a numbers advantage around that level 6 mark.
Be able to help out and bring in that damage, bring in the extra value behind. But here's the main thing, is we are going to see that shift in where I believe everyone kind of wants to start in the jungle path. And you take a look, Splitbreed of course on that bottom side, clearing out the Krugs into the Raptors and then into the red buff afterwards, and kind of the same pacing, but Pig Boss Moo on the top side of the map, so both going to be winding up on different sides of the map once full clear is done.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Gwen, it's not necessarily about where you end up in regards to, oh, can I gank this lane? It's just about where can I end up and be the safest to be able to take that crap, right? Because you want to maximize as much CS as you possibly can. You want to maximize that CSPM on this champion so you can get gold and get to scaling as soon as possible. And so I actually don't mind Iceborn ready pushing in Dorado Gaming Theta's bot lane. I actually think it's really good that Oswald and Kibbles are allowing this to happen instead of trying to fight for the wave, because not only do you have the jungler pathing to the other side of the map, but you also have TP on the Ezreal, so the ability to catch those waves even if the state of bot lane is in a bad spot for you is a lot better than, say, Husky Templar, who is rocking the more aggressive summoner spells in this lane.
Just really looking for that chase down. The Flash and the Ghost both saying, yeah, we're gonna try and look for kills. Peels of course already trying to get very aggressive in their own, looking for the knockbacks, trying to get that extra piece after, again, Milk kind of taking away the Ornn and saying, hey, I'm gonna play it instead. This feels like Peel's saying, well, I mean, I know you chose it, but I'm gonna try and bully you out. Takes a tower shot for their own, but still comes out an HP lead.
Yeah, you can see Splitbreed actually opted for a reset after taking those first 3 camps, so does have the Dark Seal early on, will help in clearing and, you know, getting a faster reset. Will also provide an opportunity for the Gwen to maybe look in one of these lanes and potentially influence them in some way, shape, or form. But it does also mean, because you are, you know, finishing your clear a little bit later, and because you are on the top side of the map, whereas Pig Boss Moo is on the bot side, the Zyra could potentially look to steal away those tier 2 Raptors, assuming, of course, that you did start them, which you did.
Well, not only that, both actually had the same idea. Now we're running into that mid lane, so it's a little bit of a test in the shenanigans. Splitbreed, of course, wasn't able to get any damage down, was able to give a little bit of a scare over to the Chosen Goat.
And there is a ward advantage coming out here for Splitbreed. He will spot Pig Boss Moo on those respawned Raptors, and Pig Boss Moo won't be able to do the same had that ward a little bit further up in that bush. But I think after crossing mid, you can insinuate at least where this Gwen is going.
I mean, if you couldn't, then I don't think you'd be here right now playing in the ADL. It'd still be, you know, you might still be trying to learn how to do that. But I do agree, you can insinuate where it is. That's why we had the wards go down, Husky Templar and False, both dropping wards inside of the river, as well as just trying to get that tri-bush under control. So I appreciate it. They are also in that same conditional value of, we want to play safe, but at the same time we want to keep our advantage. If Dark Lord and Kibbles are going to allow us to push, we want to do that. Let's see if we can even get a plate off of our free time here in the bot.
Yeah, and you can see Pig Boss Moo going for his first back, does have the Faded Ashes complete, so that burn damage will be a lot more helpful in clearing out the camps and potentially influencing the lanes. But most importantly, the Zyra ends up on the bot side, and with how much push Iceborn Ready's bot lane has provided you, I think Zyra might just honestly, after this full clear, look straight for that dragon and getting that scaling win condition up as soon as possible.
Well, if they're going to look for it, they might need to start looking at it now, where they might want to, because both Dark Lord and Kibbles haven't recalled yet. Neither has Husky and False, but and if you want to do that burn now, it's one of the right times to do it. You go ahead and take a look here. It is going to be that touchdown on the mountain.
Oh wait, Kibbles also failed the ward over the wall. If you look at that ward near the tri-bush.
That hurts. That sucks. And yeah,
But
I mean, is already there. You're good.
Oh, that sucks.
That's a yellow star moment if I ever. Nah, not really a yellow star.
That's like a reverse Scar award.
Yeah,
right?
all right, I'd agree with that one.
Yeah. Because he was trying to get the ward from the Dragon Pit into the Tri-Bush, and now it's the opposite, where Kibbles was trying to get the ward from the Tri-Bush into the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, it's a much easier of the two, and yet still just as difficult at points. And it's like, what the? Okay, that's how it's gonna play. But as you saw, the dragon did go down. It will be answered on the other side by a very quick grub stake, which I can appreciate. Split Breed going ahead and doing that, but Peels, of course, just still trying to dance on, get some damage. Right now in the mid lane, though, the Chosen Goat is gonna be jumped on here. Kibbles is bringing a lot of damage, but in comes Pig Boss Moon, gets a very nice root flash out. Kibbles is gonna stay out to safety, but there is gonna be the Garden expended by the Zyra.
Little bit overzealous, I would say, at least for Pig Boss Move having to expend that ultimate. I feel like you had to have known how mobile a champion like Rakan is, had that flash available. So really the opportunity to get that kill, I feel like, just wasn't available for him. But yeah, nonetheless, he commits that ult, like you said. Split Breed, though, managed to take away those first 3 grubs, and I mean, honestly, when you've got a champion like a Ziggs, it's helpful to have around the mid game when you can start to threaten those towers. But we've seen kind of the states the waves have been in, and so far it hasn't provided a lot of opportunity for any of the Dorado Gaming Theta members to steal away a plate with how much they've been pushed in this game.
No, I mean, I also say in the same way, Iceborn and Ready haven't really been able to make massive moves either. I mean, the gold is pretty much dead. Even everyone's sitting at about 11.3, 11.4. So in that same respect, I think the only shift that we saw was a little bit of damage tapped down on the bot lane. So I'd say for Dorado Gaming Theta, they've negated a lot of the exceptional chaos that came down in game number 1, and they've had a fairly neutral and calm early game here. No crazy kills handed over to the ADC.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the neutrality is no better exemplified than in this bot lane, where it looks like both junglers are attempting to change that. You can see Split Breed is kind of hovering around this bot lane, has the ult available now, so the needlework will be really good in being able to provide not just the damage, but the slows necessary in order to potentially lock down a kill. But there is a ward in that middle brush, so it's going to be difficult, I think, for Split Breed to get the jump on them, especially if he waits too long and Pig Boss Move, now with that ultimate respawned and refreshed, could join up.
Oh, well, that's going to be the jump forward. That should be the flash out, and you are going to be safe, but False might be eaten up here. Heal comes out plus flash, and you are going to be okay. However, large expenditures as a Split Breed is like, cool. We got 4 summoners out of bot lane.
Yeah, so that is really, really good for Dorado Gaming Theta, at least on the bot side. It allows Dark Lord, Oswald, and Kibbles to play just a little bit more up and attempt to equalize the farming advantage that Iceborn Ready have found for themselves in these first, 8 to 9 minutes. But it does also mean that the Gwen showed bot lane, and now I'm wondering what Pig Boss Move does with this information. He's going to take that crap, going to respawn. Those grubs are going to spawn in about a minute and a half, and so I am interested to see if False maybe deviates from bot lane and decides to go, toward other lanes, which it looks like he is going to do.
I think this would be the right call. We're starting to see a little bit more tested waters here. Mid lane, we're seeing Tough Daddy throw down the Mega Inferno Bomb, just trying to get some extra damage if you can. And I mean, I appreciate it. You go ahead and just see what you can get here and there, and that's really what Tough Daddy did also on the Xerath. You're just kind of fishing for that damage, but in the mid lane, it's been pretty calm and collected. I mean, you take a look at Tough Daddy, still having 2 pots in hand. Like, I don't know if you expended them earlier, but I don't think you took that much damage. So Tough Daddy is like, I don't know what anyone else is doing, but this is so calm. I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely, and you can see about a minute left until those grubs respawn. Both mid laners are going to be going for a reset. Tough Daddy does not have that teleport, whereas Lechosenko does. So this could provide an opportunity for the Talia to get pushed in the mid lane and potentially an advantage in prio, thus allowing the Zyra to cross over and just more freedom to roam around the map. And I think maybe with that in mind and the dragon coming up in less than a minute now, if Splitbreed is saying, okay, I think we have to surrender control of this top side because of the way the waves are going, and maybe we just go for dragon interference and try to stop the scaling Wincon in its tracks.
You can agree with that one, but also in this quiet pacing and with Splitbreed trying to make that entrance, take a look at how deep the wards have gone for Iceborn already. They've actually heavily lit up the entirety of the bot lane, meaning a gank could be inevitable. However, on the top side, Peels might be in for a very rude awakening. There is going to be that TP coming in here and just behind the wards as well. So Kibble,
Milky's TP on top lane too.
Yeah, Pig, Boss Moose saying, I'm going to do the same on the bot lane. Good little arcane shift out, but it's still so easy. First blood handed over. Unfortunately, defaults, but the big thing is Peels is able to live.
Yeah, Peels gets out there. So it's a 1-for-0 in favor of Iceborn Ready. Not to the member you would have liked it to go to if you are Iceborn Ready, though. But I feel like the silver lining is that Husky Templar gets a ton of plates. Iceborn Ready are all grouped up on this bot side and should be able to take this dragon. So it's not the best, but it could definitely be a lot worse.
Oh, 100%. You could have seen the squishies all fall very quickly. I mean, Dark Lord got the flash off. You were able to try and get a little bit larger of a dance. Maybe you could have gotten a kill back, and that would have been the turnaround value. But at the current moment, it is going to be simply the dragon taken. Now, here's the deal. Dorado Gaming Theta, yes, they haven't really been able to push, but now they have the chance to. And if they wish, they can make up a lot of lost ground with 6 scrubs.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, I feel like this is no better exemplified than in the mid lane, right? Tough Daddy Ziggs with 6 scrubs is an absolute nightmare. And not just having the passive, but also eventually having that satchel charge. It's going to be really easy if Dorado Gaming Theta get, you know, a skirmish win or a fight win later down the line for them to transition that into getting a turret or potentially even more, depending on, you know, the timing of the game and all. So they're setting up for the long con, but they haven't really yet been able to make use of those 6 scrubs. You can see, you look across the board and not a ton of plates are owned here by Dorado Gaming Theta.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they just got it a little bit ago, but at the same time, as you said, they've been pressured in a lot. It's more that extra catch-up value if they do find those sites. As you were mentioning, we can see the Ziggs really fire off. I'd find it funny if we saw like a Lich Bane just for pushing power, just to be an annoyance even further, and just try and amp up the damage as much as possible. Now, granted, here's the deal. We are taking a look at the junglers once again, full clear. We've seen this before. We know what they're going to do. The question is there going to be anything different? Are the junglers actually going to opt for anything out of the ordinary? Because with another clear, you got top, you got mid, you got bot, everywhere can be advanced on if you wish. You just got to kind of be willing to be proactive in it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit hard for Dorado Gaming Theta now at this point to be super proactive because you look to bot lane, right? We saw those 4 summoners burned from the side of Iceborn Ready, but those are coming back up. So the Gwen's ability to influence that side of the map is kind of over, right? I mean, you had an opportunity to look for a play onto Husky Templar and False, and you kind of whiffed it. You missed your opportunity, and now the window has closed, and it will allow Husky Templar now with those util arrows to really lay the hurt on in this lane phase.
Oh, I love the fact that Husky Templar and False were willing to kind of dive in on kibbles. They had information. I think they saw Splitbreed, you know, not in the area, so even willing to get aggressive. But take a look at the shift here. That is going to be Tough Daddy, even roaming down, saying, hey, I'm going to be here just in case, but you walked over a ward. Peels on the top lane, still about 15 CS up, looking for a little bit more, trying to zone milk off that wave. And then jungle side, Pig, of course, there's a reason Zyra is so heavily favored in some of these pro games is the push ability. You're at 124 in the camp count, well and above Splitbreed, and now you're looking for just an overwhelming 3-1 push.
Yeah, and I like this play a lot, actually, from the side of Iceborn Ready. They're going to be able to get this turret, and no one has the feat of warfare yet, right? And this is one of the few games where you don't actually have 3 kills dictating who gets the feat of strength, because now Iceborn Ready are going to be able to go for resets. Pig Boss Move is going to be able to go up toward that top side with his bot lane. All 5 members of Iceborn should be able to access this Rift Herald, and if they get that Rift Herald, that's first turret and 3 objectives I don't think that's a combo I've seen to get feats of strength yet here, Orbital. I have not seen a game where 3 kills has yet to influence a match.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's a weird stance because also if we do see a fight break out, it could still be the 3 kills. We could still see the 3 kills be that deciding factor. And it's like, okay, well, everything I just said is out the window. But I do agree, the fact it's been so quiet so far, considering the previous game as well. This is the longest that we've gone in this series without kind of that bloody brawl. We are going to wait a little bit longer. I believe the Herald is currently up right now, but we are just waiting to see what they can do with it, of course, as Dragon is actually the mainstay call, because here's the thing: if Iceborn Ready are able to get 3 dragons instead, not only will they have the boots once again, but they'll be on sole point at just 17 minutes into the game.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's sole point. Dorado Gaming Theta do not want that to happen, right? Because they themselves are also a scaling comp. They have a ton of scaling champions like the Gwen, who now has access to that Nashor's Tooth. And so having to fight a very uphill battle from here on out, it's not impossible with how much scaling you have. It's just very annoying because you drop the ball at any point around that dragon, and guess what? You're faced with essentially a lose-lose situation where you have to give up a key win con that allows your team kind of that extra doorway into the late game.
Right now, it looks like it will be given up here. It is going to be Dorado Gaming Theta to claim their own feat. It won't be a shakeup too much.
Oh wait, no, they get the first 3 objectives because they got the Herald and they got 2 grubs.
Yes, but that's only the feat. They don't have tower yet.
Yeah.
First tower went down for Iceborn Ready.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah, so they're still sitting on 1 each. They are sitting on 1 each right now.
It's gonna be who gets 3 kills first.
Yeah,
all right, let's fight.
You are 100% correct, Quacks. This is gonna come down to who wins this upcoming team fight. That is wild.
That's awesome. I've never seen that before. It's not about if you win the fight. It's about if you can kill them quicker. Be damned if you get 3 of them and then all 5 of you die.
Okay, well, okay, let's be fair. For Dorado Gaming, you better win the fight. That is
You better. Oh,
You
yeah.
have to kill like 3 out of the 5 teammates. For Iceborn, it's a little bit different. You can only get 2 and you're fine, but the dragon is going to be taken here. It's going to be cleaned up very, very quickly. Peel's running off on the side. That's going to be a root. That's a catch and a half, and that's the rocket, and then some Husky Templar yet again. But that's the side of the dragon. As Dorado Gaming Theta were able to steal away. Will they get the kills afterwards? No, they won't. Husky Templar trying to run forward. You have flash up available, but you don't have the raw damage. Zap is going to do anything that's a flash forward. Let Chosen go, trying to bring another kill in. They just want that last scene. It's not gonna work though. What a catch by Splitbreed on the dragon.
Dorado Gaming Theta and the Dorado Gaming organization watching this series as a whole breathe a sigh of relief as that dragon gets denied from Iceborn Ready. And it was a good look at the end of the day from Splitbreed. Kibbles goes down after all, and it's another kill given over to Iceborn Ready. But I mean, you'll take that trade any day of the week. And it was only 1 kill, right? After that Jinx got the reset, they were able to nullify kind of that charging bull in Husky Templar and deny any further casualties in that exchange. So good way to just go in, get what you came for, and get out. And they lost next to nothing in return.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if Husky Templar was feeling a little bit ballsy and wanted to go a little bit ham, you probably could have expended the flash, probably chased a little bit further. I mean, you take a look down the line, you know, Milk already burned that flash as well. So it's like, you know, there are some options. But granted, what ADC wants a flash into danger? I wholeheartedly agree. The fact, though, that the dragon got sniped away, I think is the biggest takeaway. I have no idea what took it. I don't think it was a smite. Granted, it could have been. Splitbreed has the ability to kind of hop in and out of fights, but I think that was more needlework. Saw the needlework cooldown on there. So just craziness all around. As Dorado Gaming Theta, they might have lost the initial march on getting some of their aggressive plays down, but they are not out of the fight as yet. You can take a look at the gold right now. Good gold advantage over to Tough Daddy, who has been farming up about 700 in their favor. Top side, though, about a 400 difference. Jungle maybe 100, but bot lane extensive lead for Husky Templar now. And they're going to try and zone it off as Kibbles is going to get bumped over and lost the jump as well. You're going to run your heck and feet away as you're safe with that flash.
Yeah, I mean, Kibbles manages to strut on away there, avoids death, and avoids giving over those 3 kills to Iceborn Ready. That last kill just staring Iceborn straight in the face. They really want to just try and get 1 more pick so they can unlock the feats, but Dorado Gaming Theta have been doing a really good job of holding fast and resilient just not getting picked here. This is a very different game than game number one. Game number one was very bloody. It felt like Iceborn ready sort of controlled the pace of the game, but this time around it feels like they're trying to do the same thing, but because they don't have the resources to corral Dorado Gaming Theta, you know, through the map, they aren't really finding a ton of success.
I think a big part is we're also seeing kind of this wait and see. I mean, they do have to worry about Tough Daddy always having that opportunity to be an annoyance and a pain. You can see the tower going down very quickly, which is evening up that gold, only 1.2 difference right now. I am also very curious and watching how the rest of this game is going to play out, mainly because it's surprising to me that False has like a 700 gold lead over Kibbles, and it's just funny to me to see a support have a I think the second highest gold lead for your team. It's just a fun little stat to be able to hold on to. But right now on the top side, Milk takes out very nice dodges, whether you knew it or not. I think Milk.
Oh, they want this kill so bad.
I know they do, but it's like I don't think you want to chase an Ornn ever.
No. You don't, absolutely not. And I mean, that's ult expended by the Zyra. 2 members now shown on the map from Iceborn ready, but I mean, Dorado Gaming Theta ordinarily you would say, all right, now they can maybe look to clear out some of that very extensive vision, I might add, from Iceborn ready on that bot side, but just based off of how the mid wave has bounced around for these past, you know, couple of minutes, it makes it really hard for you to walk up as Dorado Gaming Theta and get some territory back.
Well, right now the territory expenditure will be aiming at that bot lane. It's been so quiet after that first kill after the dragon that we are cycling back through. We have a minute left, or about 45 seconds left till the Chemtech dragon comes up. That'll be the fourth of the game, and we might even see Peels be allowed to join in without using that TP if you can push down that tower.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking Dorado Gaming are wanting to just try and get more of the same, right? They want to see if Splitbreed can get the steal. And Iceborn ready, it's going to be up to them to change the game plan, right? They've got vision around this bot side river. They've got the ability now, I think, to, if they want, transition this dragon, if they get it and maybe get a pick, to transition it into a Vodacon on the bot side, because now that has spawned. We're post 20 minutes into the game. So I would say it's the same fight, but the stakes are a lot higher near Orbital.
Yeah, the stakes are scary for multiple reasons. Husky Templar, I believe, is sitting on 2 items, so a very nice boon to their own bucket, but this is what I'm kind of watching for. Are we going to see that Weaver's Wall come out here? Splitbreed is caught yet again. That may be the Weaver's Wall to catch, but no, they zoned off Milk and Dark Lord off wall, but I don't think anyone else is really there to take that damage. Pig Boss Moo actually took a lot of damage in their own, as it's sitting down below 50%, and honestly, I like this call from Husky. Just push the tower instead, and maybe you can get a steal on the back end as well. That's going to be the Stranglethorns to come out here. Tower is already down. That might be a flash over the wall if you can. It's down very low, but no, out comes a rocket, and it looks like they got what they wanted. So Dragon expended for a tower. Well, honestly, is it going to be enough? That's the last Lord. That's what that's going to have. And maybe they do so much in Splitbreed on the back end, but a nice Horn is going to do some work. There's the kill that we wanted. Tough Daddy on the wrong side of the map, but the HP is drawn a little bit too thin. So Tough Daddy is going to run away with full HP. But again, the feat is really what they wanted. Matched on dragons, but it is Iceborn ready to get the boots.
Yep, so they got the boot upgrade, and now Tough Daddy has found himself on the wrong side of the map. LeChosenGo is going to find him, and now it's a game of can't catch Tough Daddy, but they can in fact do that.
Oh, it's easily as well. They'll give it the shutdown over to LeChosenGo, who again, dealing with Tough Daddy, who has been farming up a storm, and getting a little extra in your belt means that these stones are going to hurt a lot more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's going to be able to now have 2 items under his belt. Also has the Magic Pen boots, so the frontliners in Rakan, Splitbreed, and Milk aren't going to be able to tank up those stones for nearly as long as they used to be able to, especially now with that feats of strength upgrade coming through from those boots as well. But a new objective on the map here. The Vodacon has been active for about 4 minutes and really hasn't had a ton of attention paid toward it. Dorado Gaming Theta, I was initially thinking after they got the pick onto Pig Boss Move, they could potentially transition it into a Vodacon, because there's no jungler for Iceborn ready, but they themselves got chunked out a lot, and they also lost a member, so they weren't really able to do anything about that. but it's just the very slow pace of the game. Now the dragon count is even, so this fifth dragon, I was about to say third, this fifth dragon will be really, really impactful, I think, for the pace of the game, and will really swing the pendulum in, you know, one team's direction in terms of putting the other one on a timer to respond from there on out.
Yeah, because I think both teams are actively sitting here going, we have all the time in the world. We don't have to worry about anything. That's why they're playing so slow. That's why they're playing at kind of this leisurely pace, as both feel like they have that good scaling, which you mentioned in the earlier stance as well. But this is going to be Otacon taking quite low. Wall comes out in a meaningful time, but there's still about 5k left. There's going to be a stun back there as Kibbles gets deleted and is going to be able to barely get out, but Peels is going to peel everyone off. Otacon is still quite low, and there's another steal! Split Breed with the second steal of the game, second of the series as well, as that was Pig get into trouble. And have we seen this everywhere else? Otacon throws, well, maybe not full throw, but close enough.
And it is just absolute tragedy that has befelled Iceborn Ready. They fail to take down the Otacon in time. They give it over to Dorado Gaming Theta. They lose 2 members as a result, and they don't get anything for it. They get 2 picks, but they turn into revives with that new buff acquired. Split Breed makes it happen for a second time here in Game 2 Orbital. Pig Boss-Moo has got to be punching air after that one. That is a feels bad moment for him. And it just makes one more thing crystal clear. Husky Templar is probably, actually makes 2 things crystal clear, one of which is that Husky Templar is dead.
Oh, I don't know about that flash. False, I'm not sure about expending that, quite honestly. That was... you were like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Did not work at all. So now you lose flash, now you lose the wild growth, and now it just feels like Dorado Gaming are in your head.
Yeah, I mean, and you lose your ADC. All the members of Dorado Gaming Theta have materialized around this top side. The Baron is the target. LeChosen Goat is on the other end of the map. Doesn't have Weaver's Wall. Doesn't have teleport, so the Talia can't respond. It's a 3v4. It looks like it's going to be enough. There you go.
I think they were worried about Pig, which honestly I can agree with. There's a reason why you don't want to deal with the Zyra. That's also 2 items deep. Leandri's plus Rylai's means all that Baron shred damage is going to eat away at you. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the back away. But Dragon is also coming up in about 35. As you mentioned, this 5th Dragon is going to be played for, and guess who's alive for it? Husky Templar. We will have the wild growth available as well, but I think the GCs have basically said, we don't want to go for the Baron yet. Let's play for the smarter objective right now.
Absolutely. The more stable one, the one that plays into our strengths as a scaling composition. And Dorado Gaming Theta, I don't know how much more time is left on that Otacon revive, but I mean, it's still active for most of the members of DOGT. So them being able to just push in and get a lot more territory with that, as it now just falls off as the dragon spawns. So that safety net is removed.
I'm kind of curious about this one, Milk. I'm not sure if that's where you really want to build up your new armor piece. You're going to try and chase, and that's going to be a catch. Who are you going on? It doesn't really feel like anyone. Instead, you're going to be shredded instead. Nice Ornhorn through the back line. It doesn't go is way too far forward. That's called down. Husky Templar getting a lot of damage and is able to peel off Milk. Milk is now spoiled as yet another dragon may or may not be stolen away. No, you're going to be safe. Everyone on the side of Iceborn Ready is alive though, which is a huge positive.
And now they're going to be able to go toward the other side of the map, go toward the Baron. Split Breed and Milk, 2 of the biggest frontliners for Dorado Gaming Theta, have fallen. Split Breed was completely alone in that pit. He used the Hallowed Mist too early, and as a result, Pig Boss-Moo threw his entire combo onto the Gwen, and for the first time, and potentially the last, it stuck onto him. And that might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. This will turn into a Baron most likely, as Kibbles wants to smoke, but he's on fire and nobody's there to put him out.
That feels like a Hail Mary in reverse this time. Earlier was Iceborn Ready that sent the Hail Mary with the support, but this is, as we said, that Baron. It is going to be taken away very simply. And again, a little bit of that slow burn action. It will be finished off as DOGT are like, crap. One bad move and we are so far behind now.
Yeah, now it's a really rough position to be in if you are Dorado Gaming Theta. You're staring down a sole point Iceborn ready. They've got the Baron on all 5 members, one of which is a Talia, I might add, who is one of the best champions at operating, you know, kind of this 4-1 split. And it looks like that's exactly what Iceborn ready are going for, right? They're sending the Talia toward the bot lane. He is going to be able to push down that wave and draw pressure on that side of the map. The rest of Iceborn ready, they are going to go to the other lanes. They're looking to thin out Dorado Gaming Theta, sort of a divide and conquer strategy. And I think this is going to be really efficient, especially when you're dealing with champions like a Ziggs and Ezreal who thrive off of being able to get that wave clear. Now with the buffed up Baron minions, it's not going to be as effective.
You're going to be slowly shoved in, and that's why you're instead aiming to try and take down Peels as quickly as possible. Peels 1-0 and 2 is going to go ahead and collect. That's an easy jump back at Split Breed. It's like in a 1v1. I'm not sure if I'll be able to fully take him away. Husky Templar looking to close in. That's going to force Split Breed off as well. So Peels gets some help from the teammates in mid.
Yeah, Peels manages to survive that 1v2. And a lot of resources expended there by Dorado Gaming Theta to get that pick. They have so many members in the mid and top side, and it has allowed LeChosen Goat to most likely take down that bot lane turret. The 4-1 split is working, Orbital.
It's doing a lot of great things here for the team, and DOGT have to realize they're starting to get a little bit punched in. You see how they're gathering up 3. You see Milk also having to go ahead and recall here and try and get back with the rest of the team. Is going to run straight towards that mid, as this is going to feel like the second to last wave here. That's going to be the wall to come out here. Who do they get to collect? No one, but they do get a free tower, which is exactly what they wish for.
Yep, they're continuing to push that vision line up ever further. And it's still around 2 minutes away, but it is in preparation for this Dragon Soul here on the line for Iceborn ready. And being able to just get, you know, those turrets on the bot lane, on the mid lane, will allow you to really track Dorado Gaming Theta's movements for the next 90 seconds or so, which will be really valuable in planning how you want to play this next team fight.
It's scary to think about that right now. We saw that expanse from about 600 gold up to about 5k, and yet it's closer to about, I'll say, about 1k difference. You can see the orange
it's still kind of close.
3-4. Yeah, it's still doable, and as long as Dorado Gaming Theta don't allow that earlier fight loss to really get them down. I mean, hell, Split Breed got 2 steals out of there. You should be hella proud about that. You still have a heavy chance. DOGT just need to kind of keep their mental in a good space, and we could easily see this game flip.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like one fight win and the pendulum could easily swing back to Dorado Gaming Theta's favor, like it did in that most recent Dragon fight. But really now the difficulty lies in just being able to kill the members of Iceborn ready, as they are looking to just kill you instead.
Oh, and they found Kibbles. Oh, and even got the root down as well. What a catch. And then the solo from Peels. Okay, now in the back line, Liberty's going to try and do some work, but is it going to be enough? No, you're soloed out as well. Nice needle look at the end, shredding through Peels' HP. However, you leave your mid lane completely unsafe, and it is going to be a rush down with Husky Templar, who is now 3 items deep with a Lulu buffing them up.
Yeah, so they're going to look for this inhibitor. They're going to be able to get it, and then they're going to roam right down toward the dragon. 20 seconds until that spawns. Tough Daddy does have the teleport available, so this Ziggs has the ability to go on toward this fight. But the problem is there really aren't any wards. There really aren't any flank angles that the Ziggs can utilize to enter into this exchange. And it looks like, just based off of how Dorado Gaming Theta are playing, they are willing to say, hey, we got to give this one up. We can't over-aggress. And that's exactly what they're doing. They use that True Shot Barrage to clear out vision on that bush, and they get all the members of Iceborn ready out there. But the dragon still goes the way of Iceborn, and it is Dorado Gaming Theta now in a bit of a pickle.
It is, because number one, I think one of the big things is, yeah, you gave us soul, but number two is, like, you have been waiting so long to try and bring a fight out, and I really want to commend Iceborn Ready's vision collection. Their vision has been tempered to such a fine degree, and we are wondering why it's so quiet. Well, everywhere that Iceborn Ready were going, they had wards up a minute beforehand. They were actively making sure that Dorado Gaming Theta were never in a good spot, and it makes it so difficult. I can't blame Dorado Gaming Theta for not being able to make a play on the other side of the map when you quite literally can't walk without setting off an alarm somewhere. So Iceborn Ready have played such a fantastic kind of stalwart bait towards late game, and we're now seeing that value come through.
And the alarms are starting to sound for both teams as the Baron starting to creep its way onto the rift in about 30 seconds. You can see the movement from both teams sort of gravitating up toward that topside pit. Neither team has really claimed that area, but Dorado Gaming Theta do have a lot of wards around there, so they will at the very least be able to know where Iceborn Ready are, as Peels does a little bit of a enter one way and leave the other way.
Rocket out! Daddy almost died there. That was huge.
Wow.
Peel's not able to fight out as Milk is realizing they are squishy as all heck.
Here we go.
Out here. Cable's open to the back line, and you are able to get one. There's the wild growth again. Husky Templar is gonna be fine. Peels, of course, running interference, so it is a tank for support. And honestly, this might be enough to actually slow down the Baron take, unless Pig says, no, we can just rush it.
I mean, Milk used his ultimate, Splitbreed used his ultimate, Tough Daddy used his ultimate, Dark Lord Oswald still has his ultimate on cooldown. These crucial R-buttons for Dorado Gaming Theta were used to get Peels, and now it leaves the Baron open for taking, but Splitbreed has been a thief in this game. Let's see if he can do it a third time, Orbital.
He's trying, but he's getting taken quite low. That's a flash over the wall, but that is again going to be your smite. So now it's a fight, smite, fight. That's going to be a couple auto attacks. It is going to be handed over as Pig and Husky Templar are going to run away. Actually, does that smite. I don't know what you're talking about, Orbital. That is not the smiter. That is Pig, who was able to take it away, and you do get away with the Baron and a kill. But you
wait, the bomb is coming off ready. Tough Daddy.
Yep, that's going to be another bomb, and that's the burn! Shut down for Tough Daddy, who this time around has the punch.
And he throws it, and it swishes right onto its target. Somebody call Kobe, because Tough Daddy gets himself another kill in this game, and it's another Baron buff removed there for Iceborn Ready. I believe only 3 members surviving with that. So it does thin out the pressure that Iceborn can put on the map with this buff. And it also buys time for Dorado Gaming Theta to continue scaling up. Milk is now level 17. And as we just saw, he is upgrading yet another member of Dorado Gaming Theta with an ornament.
You go ahead and get some extra damage in there, and honestly, I think the whole reason that Iceborn Ready are still in this game is honestly from that Chemtech Soul, getting a lot of that resistance buff going in and getting a lot of that ability to sustain under 50%. Anywhere else, I feel like they would have been dead. They got 3 squishies. Make that 4 actually outside of the wild growth. I mean, they should be dying very quickly, but honestly, they are not, so they're able to fight back.
We've got a Elder Dragon Orbital coming up in a little over 2 minutes. You can see Iceborn Ready, they just want this game to be over. They're clearing out vision. They're setting some of their own. They're threatening kibbles on this bot side of the map. They're going to transition that into pushing in the bot lane. Milk is on the top side though, so I'm wondering now that they know the Ornn doesn't have TP, if they're saying, okay, maybe we can look for a pick. Maybe we can look for a force with this Baron buff. But yeah, O is right. I mean, look, they've got to kill Tough Daddy before they can even think about trying to siege. Even, like, Baron buff be damned, this Ziggs minefield, it's hell to walk through. No other way to put it.
That's without Rabadons, by the way. That's Tough Daddy just scaling.
He's almost got Rabadons. Imagine what's going to happen once he has it.
Yeah, it's going to be overwhelming. And honestly, this calls back to what you're talking about. You know, the Zyra and this Talia, it doesn't have exactly the same amount of value because they are struggling on the engagement. You can see here, they aren't really able to force a fight under tower, even though they feel like they're kind of ahead here. What they can do is drop a little bit of the stones, get some extra damage down, and that's kind of the ticket in. But in a full-out engage, they don't have it. So I love the fact you brought it up because we are seeing that's a big struggle. Now they're going to try and slowly push up. Baron is going to be able to keep most of the minions alive so they can fight out this tower, and it looks like they are going to get it. As Husky Templar steps up, is going to chase in, look for an inhibitor. However, I don't know how far you want to go because again, 50 seconds towards this Elder, and I think you're going to chance it. I think you're going to chance it. You're level 16. Yeah, just one more auto.
Yeah,
you got it. You got it.
All right, so they get the inhibitor. Now it's another facet of pressure unlocked for the side of Iceborn ready, but not really going to be relevant because in the next 30 seconds, there will be a dragon spawning. I don't think the supers are going to be at the point where, in that bot lane at least, where it's going to actually matter and make a difference for you, at least in the sense of the lane states. So, yep, we're staring down. This is a game-winning, game-ending objective coming up here, Orbital. This is the end-all, be-all of objectives. And Slippery, he's stolen two objectives. He's stolen 2 neutrals. So I have to think Iceborn Ready are saying we cannot chance it this time around. We can't let that happen a third time, because if it happens this time, it's going to be the last time.
And the problem is that Pig is already low at about 75. Yes, you can heal up off of that blue buff, but it's like, dang, always opening up with some of the damage just sucks. Now you get blue buff on everyone, though. This might be what you need. Again, being able to give that ability haste out to the team and having them have extra value there. True Shot Barrage isn't really going to do much, but keep in mind, the longer this space out, the better for Iceborn Ready. They do have the bot side open, and I don't think they have a wave stack, but now they can take a chance onto Split Breed. Split Breed was trying to push in this mid lane, but it's not going to happen as Milk is now going to try and corral out inside of the river, try and force the wards out. It is a giant song and dance, so take a look at where Kibbles is. Kibbles is so far away. They're gonna rush, and Milk flashing away for safety. Megan Furthermore is going to do some damage, but in the back lines, it looks like Kibbles has stunned out 3. However, Husky Templar is still freaking alive. And guess what? That B1 Jinx yet again is going to burn through your backline. Pig, though, it's shredded a little bit low. Down goes Peel's True Shot Barrage from Dark Lord. Snipes out the light, and it will be a 2 for 2.
But now look at the base. Look, Dorado Gaming Theta, they're recalling Milk to try and answer that threat. And this is saying to Iceborn Ready, okay, we have an opportunity. We can go for this dragon. Both junglers are down. It is the definition of a 50-50.
I don't think it truly is, because Tough Daddy has the raw damage. Take a look at that. Another bomb out here. They sent Orange back, and Orange want to force it off. Yeah, you can't chance it here. Not against the burst.
Man, my hairs are starting to go gray here, Orbital. This game, it's so stressful. It's on a knife's edge. Both teams set up for that fight so well. Kibbles with the backline flank, managing to access key crucial members of Iceborn Ready, but not being able to get Husky Templar, who wreaked absolute havoc in that fight, got the resets, maneuvered around the fight. They managed to get a pick onto Split Breed as well. So both junglers being down means no objective is in the clutches of either one of these squads, who are just desperately trying to win this game for their sides. The Baron is now up, so another threat on the other side is rearing its ugly head, or in the case of Baron, heads, as it has got multiple. But yeah, both of these teams, it is such a close game here, Orbital. Top teams here in the Freljord, both organizations looking to stamp their name as one of the first place teams here about halfway through the regular season. And you can see that both of them have earned that top team moniker.
Once again, Kibbles is in that back line. And the same thing that occurred was the Chosen trying to look for that flank, getting that Weaver's Wall in as well. That's going to be the call down. This is going to be close. Kibbles is in, trying his mom, but Peels keeps everyone else away. That's going to be Elder. Guess what? Assassinations galore. Milk, you better not drop below 20%, and it is going to be the rest of DOGT running away. Peels being able to keep Split Breed away.
Yep, nobody dies in that exchange, but the fact remains, Elder is now accessible for Iceborn Ready. They have that buff on all 5 members, and they are not afraid to force a fight. They're going to go for the Baron, and I think Dorado Gaming Theta understand their situation. If they go in, they lose, they die. But if they let this one go, they could maybe hold fast. But now it is Soul, it is Baron, it is Elder. The 3 keys to the kingdom have been unlocked for Iceborn Ready. This is like Thanos with his Infinity Stones. But hey, he lost in the movie at the end of the day. So let's see if Dorado Gaming Theta can do the same and pull off a miracle.
I mean, listen, they got some portals in there, but that was game number 1. Those portals are gone. No Doctor Strange here, so it's going to be a problem. But Kibbles has so far, even without portals, has found these flank options. And honestly, if Kibbles gets that right call, a a bomb from Ziggs could easily take this over. That is the scary thing. What a dive in though. The Chosen Goat trying to chase in for Milk's life and even getting some extra damage here. True Shot Parade is going to hit that Banshee Zeal and break it, but Milk is dancing in and out. A little bit dangerous spot, but that does leave the mid lane open now. That is going to be another one. As that's a fight. What a rocket! Huge damage drops. Almost and there will be no flank today, which now means it's pretty much open base. You have Baron pushing on multiple ways in. This is going to be another tower to go down here. As Peels is saying, yo, what's up? Or Horn going to slow everyone down, but honestly, DLGT do not have that damage. Dark Lord trying to draw it out, but now you're faced off against Wild Growth Peels, and I don't think it's going to do anything. Finally, we get the assassinations, the executions, as Iceborn ready. We're ready for the 2-0.
At 44 and a half minutes in, Iceborn secure the victory. And what a series coming out from this squad. We saw them speed blitz game number 1, but then they switched gears. They changed up the game, and they went for a very slow, methodical game number 2. These guys are able to fight, and they are able to function in every single pace of game in League of Legends. This series proves it. And they will go 2-up over Dorado Gaming at Theta, undefeated no more. Now it is Iceborn ready, taking that crown, at least for the time being. Both teams being 2-1, but with this win, Iceborn ready, they win the head-to-head, so they will be up at least compared to Dorado Gaming Theta. But there is another team in the Freljord division that is also undefeated, so we'll wait a little bit before we start calling them the #1 team in the Freljord orbital.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Quacks. This game still doesn't really make it evident that that they are the clear victors. Iceborn ready, you can see there, even though they had about a 4K lead, it still took time for them to try and finish things out. So quite honestly, I give a lot of props to Dorado Gaming Theta as well for being able to maintain some semblance of a defense all the way to the very end. Very stalwart, just really calculating in there. But I gotta agree. We are looking at Iceborn ready saying, hey, they are a team now that is matching up with the top of the echelon. But I do want to ask, was it truly just the composition that kind of made them struggle to close out this game? Or do you think it was also maybe some intercoms kind of hesitation in there as well? Because remember, they did lose out a series already as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just kind of feels like at the end of the day, Iceborn ready played better as a unit, right? Every single time we saw them in a team fight, they would go even at worst, but never did you really feel like these guys were behind in a sense. They were unprepared in a sense. Every time they approached, you know, a neutral objective or a turret or a dive, even as, you know, 3, 4, or 5 members, they were really able to work off of each other in ways where you could honestly say these guys were one dude on 5 monitors. So I really got to compliment the cohesion, the synergy that Iceborn ready displayed in this series. And while Dorado Gaming Theta did have synergy of their own, they were able to kind of weather the storm, particularly in that game too. It just kind of felt like they were never in control of the pace of the game, right? Game number 1, that was evident. Game number 2, a little bit less evident, but as soon as Iceborn ready got the ball, they hit it home with a slam dunk. And they took that one and they got a 2-0. So really good stuff coming out here from Iceborn ready. This is a team that I am definitely going to keep my eyes on as we get further and further into the regular season, because we got to keep in mind, playoffs has to be on the minds of some of these top teams, right? We're about halfway through the regular season. I believe a little bit less than halfway through, but around that 50% mark. And it is going to mean that, you know, some of these teams have to be worrying about seeding. They have to be worrying about qualification. And so you've got these teams who are at the top who are most likely going to get in there. And now it's really a question of how are they going to improve from now until then. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. I'm really interested to see this team again. I hope we get to see them again here in the ADL orbital, because they were a blast to watch. And Dorado Gaming Theta, very strong top team, but obviously do have a few kinks to iron out before we see them next.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and see if they can make it way. As you said, about halfway through the season, 2 more weeks of the regular season before we hit the qualifier matchups, so we get to see some of those other head-to-heads across both divisions. So we are going to be done here today. There's more Aegis action throughout the entire rest of the week. Remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all of that. Keep eyes on the socials, and you will see what matches are coming up. Same time, same place as before. Just a different league here and there. My name is Orbital. With me has been Quacks. We had Caddy on the production. We thank you all for tuning in. Of course, shout out to Zen Market once again, our amazing sponsor, for making this broadcast possible. And we'll leave you with a short video of theirs to once again go over how they make it so easy to shop in Japan, maybe if it's not as easily accessible here in wherever you live. We'll see y'all next time.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
Zen Market.
全マーケット
ジャムケ
ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。